Hello. Do you like my party hat? Oh my god. Hi guys. My crochet brain is a year old. These are my party hats. One for you. Yes, okay. One for me. It's my crochet birthday, and that's very exciting. I feel like, how did that happen so fast? But also makes sense. Crocheting is a long process. So I thought that today we would do a little video where I am just kind of walking us through my year of crochet and projects and kind of like the vibes, the feels. So yeah, let's do it. Hey. So I figured we'd start with a little bit of background. It all started with this. For Christmas of 2024, my partner gifted me this crochet set. I've been wanting to crochet for a long time, okay? For a long time. And, you know, X knew that and gave me this, which makes sense. But at the same time, I was a little like, okay, now I guess I have to really do it. And eventually one day I was like, all right, like, let me look in this book. And then I saw a crochet pattern for the first time. And I was like, that's not English, is it? Tampoco es español, so nani? Like, I was just like, what do I do? I didn't understand. So I was just like, that's crazy. And then I decided to not look at it ever again. And then my friend T, who was in one of my last videos, her and I were talking, and she knows how to crochet and knit. If you know, you know. And so she was like, I'll help you. And so we got together one day and she started to help me. I think that if I hadn't had someone in my life be like, I will help you learn this skill, I don't think I would have done it. So in March of last year, me and T got together and I started to learn how to crochet. You know, slip knot, how to make a magic ring, working into the magic ring. But then I went home and I think I didn't practice for like a week or something. And then when I tried to pick it up again, it just was not working. And I was getting really frustrated, really upset. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't actually really stick to crocheting until the next time I got with T, where she was very kind and she basically gifted me a skein of yarn to work on my project, because the stuff that came with the kit, she was like, that's too small, you're gonna be really frustrated. And you know, at the time I didn't understand that. I was like, no, I feel like if it's smaller, it'll make more sense. It didn't. She helped me get started, and I kept it going here at my house, and I really dedicated a lot of time and commitment. Finally, I was like, I'm gonna crochet at least a couple rounds every day. And so that's what I did. It finally kind of started to make sense. I kind of understood how to read the patterns. So yeah, that's when I really started. I was working on the dragon, like I said, which I'll show you in a second. But while I was working on that, I realized I have a baby shower next week. And I know how to crochet now. And so I decided to make a gift for the baby. And I made some baby booties, and that was my first ever completed crochet project. Very sweet, very cute. I think I did struggle. No, I know I did struggle. So yeah, it was a little tough to do like my first on my own following a YouTube tutorial. But I did it, and they came out really cute, and I was able to gift that. So that's technically my first ever like start to finish project that I completed. And then I kept working on the dragon. And the dragon, I had a like self-set deadline because I really wanted to gift it to my cousin in Colombia. And when I realized that that's kind of what I was working towards, I had to hurry because my mom was going to be traveling, and I was like, well, it needs to be done by then so that I can get to her. I worked on it, and I did it. my second finished project. Technically the first I ever really was starting on. I think it came out really sweet. I'm proud of it. I still am proud of it. I was very proud of it at the time. I'm glad that I was able to gift that to someone that I love. And having family across the ocean is hard sometimes. I feel suddenly emotional. This is not that kind of video, but it just feels nice to be able to send something, that came from my hands, and she loves it. She named it Océano y Arena because of the colors, which I love. And yeah, so that was my first ever project, and I guess projects if you count the baby booties. So after I did the dragon, I had a friend's birthday coming up, and so I made her a scrunchie. This is not the scrunchie I made her, this happens to be another one, but I just made a scrunchie. Let's see if I can get this too. There you go. So I made a scrunchie for her, just like this one. I think she liked it. It was an easy little quick thing that I did. It was fun to start learning I can make things faster, smaller, simpler things, but they're still really nice. So that was my next quest. And then after that, hilariously enough, after learning that you could make simple, quick things, I decided I wanted to make something large. I started the adventure of making a granny square blanket. If you know, you know, I chose to do it in burnout blanket. At the time, again, very new crocheter. I was a month or two into having, started this process of learning. I thought, bigger is better. And it'll work up faster, and it'll just be so much easier to see the stitches. Yeah, maybe. If you're not using burnout blanket. I just used burnout blanket, one, because it's soft and blanket-like. It has blanket in the name, duh. And because the pattern that I liked was, a chunky yarn like that. Well, girl, I had no idea that apparently it's really hard to see the stitches in burnout blanket. But you live and you learn. And that's exactly what I did. So I started working on the squares. It was kind of a headache at first, but I eventually got the hang of it. And honestly, in the end, it wasn't that bad. I made all my squares, but it was a slow process. Yeah, it took a while. I started this blanket in June, okay? Remember that. We're gonna veer to the next thing, because that was happening while other things happened. When I sent the dragon to my little cousin, my grandma also lives in Colombia. I think what happened was that my grandma said something like, I want one, yo quiero uno. And I was like, locked in, babe. I got you. So I chose to make her another one of the dragons in the book. It's a chunkier yarn, I think, than the pattern suggested, so he was bigger than I expected him to be. It was a whole thing. But it got done, and same as the first time, my mom was traveling, I was like, can you take it? I had to get it done kind of on a timeline. And same as the first, with my cousin, I just feel really fortunate to have been able to make that for my grandma. She really likes it. I think she named it Jessica, which is funny because if you didn't know, that's my name. I'm really happy to have been able to make that for her. While on the subject of grandma and family, crocheting is something that women have been doing in my family for a long time. So at the minimum, I know that my great-grandma used to crochet. Both of my grandmas crocheted, my mom crocheted, and now I'm crocheting. And I think that that's just a very interesting way to kind of, I don't know, weave our stories and our patterns together. In Colombia, crocheting is kind of, I don't know if I'd say it's traditional. I really don't even know that far, but I know that when I've grew up going to Colombia, like I saw a lot of things made in crochet. My mom would search for things made in crochet for me. And like I said, like my family, it's been something that they do for generations now. So it's cool, and I feel really thankful to be here now, and also to have been able to make something for my grandma, who has also made things for me. And maybe we'll talk about that in another video. So I made that. Back to what we're here for. And then in the fall, I started another externship for school, and I had 2 supervisors, lovely women. One of them was pregnant, so I, of course, made her little baby hat and booties for her little baby shower that we had. That was really fun. I kind of messed up the hat. I have this habit when I crochet that sometimes I'm like, that's not a big enough mistake, and I do not frog it. And so I think I like skipped a row, and then it came back to bite me when I realized it was kind of like a ribbed pattern. So I had ribbing every other, and then suddenly it skipped 2, and you could kind of tell. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. Just me like nitpicking, and it still came out sweet, and they were very appreciative. I also made my supervisor scrunchies as a gift, so that's something else I worked on. Now we're in December, suddenly. I think the last date I said was June, right? Now suddenly, time has passed, it's December. And it's time to finish the blanket. I don't know, over time, you know, I was working on it, square at a time, square by square, that's all you can do. I had all the squares I needed. It was like 40, it was almost 50 squares, I think. Finally had them. And they sat in a pile for a little bit because I was like, my camera stopped recording, so we're just gonna pick up where we left off. So basically, I decided to start weaving those squares together on a really hard day for me. There was no particular rhyme or reason. I was just like really emotional that day. And I thought, I'm gonna crochet and weave this together, and that'll give me peace. No. I struggled. It took so long, and I struggled to weave those squares together. I do have that blanket here. Whoa, she's thick. I did it. Can you see it? You can see it. I gave this to my mom. She loves it. This was hard though. I had a lot of challenges with this. Like, I realized I'm kind of bad at sewing. You know, you live and you learn. This project took a lot of time and energy and effort. She's definitely not perfect, but my mom loves her. I love that she loves her. I'm glad she gets to use it. It's super soft, it's comfortable, and we're just praying that she keeps it together. Because one of the things I learned way too late into the game was that this kind of yarn, it's kind of challenging to weave the ends in. Or it's not as straightforward as maybe it is with other things, and I didn't know that. So I weaved all of my ends in the way that I always do, not knowing maybe I should do it a little extra, you know? So you can definitely see the ends on her and some of the squares. I literally just found one. So we're gonna love her and hold on to her and treat her gently for as long as we can. That project, like, yes, I was working on other things, but it took me basically 6 months, like, or the better part of 5 months, really. So that was one of my like really big ones last year. After I finished the blanket, I decided to work on a scarf for my dad for Christmas. He travels a lot, he's a pilot, and where his company's base gets really cold. It was awesome, honestly. Like, everyone's different with crochet. I really like to be able to kind of turn my brain off and do a very straightforward pattern. You know, a scarf is the same exact size rectangle. You know what I mean? Like, work this way, just kind of like ping pong side to side. I love being able to do that. And even with the granny squares, like, the weaving together was really hard, but once I got used to the pattern, it was just like almost like brain off kind of task. Like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's just repeat. Some people, I think, get bored of that. Like, my friend T has mentioned that It can be a little boring. So far, I like that kind of thing. It's nice to just not have to think so hard and like count all of my stitches. So yeah, I did a scarf for my dad. I really like how it turned out. If I were to do it again, or if I could just like change it, I might have made it a little longer. You know, hindsight is 20/20. But it still came out really nice. And I might make him a hat, but don't tell him that. After the holidays, I chose to take a break. Just like, I was kind of tired from like basically constantly crocheting. And no, it wasn't actually constant, but very much was taking a lot of my time. And I loved it, but I was like, okay, I need a break. So I didn't crochet for a little while. But my first project of 2026 was a little amigurumi fox that I made my friend. I've never worked on such a small amigurumi or anything really, unless you count baby stuff. I don't know if that counts. It was hard. You know, as the crocheter, as the person making the thing, I'm like, I probably could have done a little better. But it is what it is, and it still came out sweet, and I'm happy to have been able to give it to her. She really liked it. After the fox, I decided it was time to kind of change beats a little. As you probably noticed, a lot of the things I've talked about, I don't have them. Like, I've had to tell you about them and show you pictures because I wasn't really doing anything for myself. And after the amigurumi fox, I was like, we're gonna turn things around a little. I made my first wearable, which is actually the first video on this channel, is me making this like poncho. I love it. I really do. Honestly, like, I'm probably gonna make more in different colors. I don't know if I'd make the exact same pattern because there are just so many beautiful patterns out there to try. I do love this pattern. It's very simple. She's beautiful. I love her so much. After this, I made my filet crochet dress, which, spoiler for my friends who watch these videos, I didn't finish filming that process. My last video was kind of the starting of the process of the dress, but then after that video, I just was like so determined to get it done that I just could not be bothered to pull out a camera or talk about what I was doing. I just wanted to do it. But it's done! I did it. I'll show you right now. This is her. I did it. She's really cute. I am very, very proud of her. We'll lay her here. I'm trying not to be hard on myself about it because there are some things that I don't, like, I'm not obsessed with about it, but that's part of learning because I'm still relatively new at crocheting. Crochet me is only one. So, and crochet wearable me is like 2 months old. So, I'm still learning. I am very proud of her. So I'm excited to wear her, and I'm sure that wearing it will give me a different feeling about it as well. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's where I'm at. A year into crocheting, I have made 12 larger projects and then a handful of smaller mini projects like booties and scrunchies along the way. Oh, I also made the booties. That was in this other video. I wanted to kind of take time to look back over the year at everything I've made and just reflect a little, I guess. Crocheting has been a wonderful part of my life over the last year. It's been really cool to learn how to do something, and I feel like there's nothing like seeing it finally come together. Like, at first you're just working into this chain or this magic ring and you're like, there's literally nothing, and then watching it grow and come to life is really, really cool. Right now I have kind of 3 projects on the books. On the hook, I have a hat that I'm making a friend of mine. I'm probably going to work something up for my brother's baby shower, which is at the end of this month. And then my next thing is I'm going to knit a shirt. Nervous about that, but we'll see how it goes. I probably will document that process. If you're learning how to crochet and you are having a hard time, just know that I argue that 80 to 90% of anyone who crochets now has been where you are. Like, I wanted to set that box on fire. The one that my partner gave me, I wanted to set it on fire. I was like, I never want to do this again. I'm super frustrated. This is so hard. And look at me now. I'm literally sitting next to a dress that I made. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been humbling. It's been great. And I am going to pat myself on the back because I've come a long way. And here we are. So happy 1 year to me, I guess. And if you've watched this whole video, thank you for watching it. Stay tuned for what's to come. Thanks. And just so you know, this was my audience while we were filming this. Yeah. This is the setup, guys. Like,